This video is rated T, or Tickle Me Pink. Personally, I'm going to be using my fully modified Max Trader Scar as well as RSAS that was given to me because I am a believer. But because I'm such a gracious overlord, I've actually gone ahead and compiled the best level 1 weapons. These are based on using the best ammunition available to you and putting on the best attachments available to you at level 1. Because I know some of you guys come from farmer's blood heritage and couldn't possibly ever be a true believer like myself. Okay, I can't do this anymore, dude. Obviously, I'm joking, guys. Today, we're going to be talking about the best weapons you can utilize at level 1. It took a while to compile all this, so hopefully you appreciate it. And if you do, make sure to smash that dislike button and tell me to wrap my car around a pole at 190 miles an hour. Let's get into it. So the two builds I want to go over you first and foremost are one for a USEC and one for a bear. USEC and bear both get different starting loadouts. Basically, you're going to get Kalashnikovs if you're a bear, or you're going to get 5.56 weapons like the M4A1 if you're a USEC. So I want to cover two builds. They're going to be your best in slot for utilizing those weapons. We'll tackle the USEC one first, the M4A1, since the vast majority of the player base tends to go USEC. That being said, I still think it's valuable to watch the bear section of this or watch the USEC section if you're a bear, because you're going to be getting these weapons when you kill people, and knowing how to modify them correctly is going to help you tremendously. Now, historically, people haven't modified their level 1 weapons very much just because there was global trader limits, but now that those have been reverted and it's just your own personal trader limits, you will be able to go ahead and modify these weapons as much as you like. And if you make it to the end of the video, the final build will be a DMR that is suppressed in 1 taps to the thorax with a 4x optic that you can build as soon as you start the wipe that no one knows about. So let's go ahead and get a leg up against your opposition and look at some of these weapon builds. Now, ever since last wipe, the M4A1 has been a killer weapon since recoil was nerfed dramatically, and green tip is actually quite effective early on into a wipe with the new armor system. With that being said, the M4A1 is going to be a bread and butter weapon until you get to level 15, and you should really prioritize using this, especially if you're a USEC. Now, we'll be starting with just a bone stock M4A1 that you will be getting as you start as a USEC. You'll get 2 of these. If you are a bear, you can actually take an ADAR and purchase an M4A1 lower receiver and put all the ADAR components over on it, and you'll have a fully automatic M4A1 just with the wooden furniture of the ADAR, so you can utilize that method. Or perhaps you're going to run out of M4A1s if you have an unlucky streak on ground zero. The first thing we're going to do is actually take off the stock in the pistol grip and put on the ADAR wooden furniture. This gives us the best recoil and ergonomics we can get at this level. It does look a little goofy, but it's going to put people down. This wooden furniture is going to be sold from skier level 1, and that's going to be the last time I mention what level the traders are actually selling these, because obviously everything is sold at level 1. That AR furniture will cost you 5,000 rubles from skier. On the front of the weapon, we're going to grab the AR-15 Magpul MOE SL carbine length M-lock handguard. This handguard gives us the best stats in the game and also enables us to put a 4.1 inch and 2.5 inch rail respectively, giving us the capabilities of putting on a foregrip as well as a laser light. It also gives a tremendous amount of ergonomics with plus 10 ergonomics. This will set you back 10,000 rubles from skier once again, and then you're going to want to go ahead and navigate over to mechanic and grab yourself both a 2.5 inch M-lock rail and a 4.1 inch M-lock rail. This will only cost you a couple thousand rubles. On that 4.1 inch rail, we want to go ahead and establish an RK6 Zenit grip. This is sold from 7,000 rubles for skier, and it reduces recoil and gives us a pretty big bump on ergonomics once again. On your 2.5 inch rail, you're going to want to go ahead and put on a Glock GTL-21 tactical flashlight with laser. Now, we need one of these flashlights with a laser built in it so we get that hip fire spread increase when it's turned on. I have some insanely good keybinds that will give you a massive leg up, so I'll have my settings guide linked in the top right. The keybinds are towards the end of the video, but that settings video is one of the most popular for Tarkov for a reason. Get better performance and get more kills by simply changing your settings. Go check that out after this video. Back to the weapon build, we're going to go navigate over to the gas block. So you'll see the standard gas block that comes with this actually has the front sight built into that gas block there. After you've completed Gunsmith Part 1, you can actually go ahead and use the Windham weaponry rail gas block for 5,000 rubles from mechanic. It's going to reduce the recoil by twice as much as our foregrip, so it's a great pickup and it has no negative ergonomics. It'll also open a whole plethora of different optics that you can actually utilize on this M4A1 build. However, because you guys are going to want to use this as soon as the wipe hits, I've gone ahead and came up with a different solution where you can actually lollipop and use this end post and a sight with a spacer and see perfectly fine without being forced to use those iron sights. For that, we're going to be going ahead and grabbing ourselves an aim point acro mount mount. This is actually the larger spacer version, and it goes for 3,000 rubles from Peacekeeper. I've gone ahead and converted it to rubles just so it makes it a little bit easier for you guys. I know he operates in USD, the superior currency, USA. I'm just joking. Then we're gonna go ahead and put an aim point acro P1 reflex sight. There's another aim point optic you can choose to put on this. I think the acro is a little bit better of an optic. It's kind of like a cheap holographic, but you can go ahead and utilize that. They're both 1x optics, but it'll give you a lot better sight picture. The last modification that you might want to do to this M4A1 is going ahead and putting an upgraded charging handle on it. So you can go ahead and purchase this for 7,000 rubles from Mechanic. This is only going to give you 1 extra ergo. So if you want to skip this and save yourself 7,000 rubles, by all means, go ahead and rock this. But this M4A1 is going to put you far ahead of all of your friends when that wipe hits. And if you want them to be on the same level, consider sending them this video. If you want a full picture of this weapon build, just go ahead and navigate over to my Twitch and type in level 1 M4, exactly as you see on screen right now, with no spaces. I don't need to be online for you to do this, and that way you'll have a picture to easily reference in the future. That brings the total cost of this M4A1 to 90,000 rubles. Let's hop into the next weapon, the AK-74M for the bears. Alright, the AK-74M. Now, the USEX may have the faster firing, more modifiable weapons. However, the bears get compensated by being given very good ammunition early on. You'll be starting with PS, PP, and BP ammunition. BP will punch through things. Just make sure you're going ahead and loading your magazines correctly. I would top load them with BP ammunition. I did a whole video on it. I'll have that magazine packing tutorial in the top right. If you plan on going bear, you really need to know how to utilize that, or you're going to go through all that ammunition way too fast and you're going to lose that advantage. Now, we're starting with an AK-74M. This isn't purchasable or barterable at all at level 1 traders. So if you're a USEC and you want to utilize this, you're going to need to either get one off a scav or get one off a bear. This weapon is relatively easy. First, we're going to take off the iron sight and put on a bastion dust cover. This gives us a Picatinny rail for our optic of choice on the top, and it also reduces recoil by 1, which a lot of people don't know about. The bastion cover is sold from Skier for 6,000 rubles. For an optic, I'm going to recommend you guys use the Burris Fastfire 3 reflex sight. It's kind of like a micro reflex, and it's going to put your face really close to the weapon. However, it's very clean early on, one of the best optics in my opinion, and we don't have to worry about that end post like we did on the M4. Peacekeeper sells this for 19,000 rubles at level 1, and don't forget the Burris Fastfire Weaver base for another 2,000 rubles from Peacekeeper. At the front of the weapon, we're going to want to put on an AK-100 series polymer handguard if we have completed Gunsmith Part 1. This will allow us to put on a foregrip and attack light. Once again, I'll recommend the RK6 tactical grip and the GTL-21 tactical light. That being said, I have given you guys a better option if you haven't done Gunsmith 1 yet, and you likely won't if you're just going in on, your first raids going into Ground Zero. You're going to want to actually go ahead and use the AK Ultimac M1B gas tube handguard. So this is actually a gas tube and a handguard. You're going to need to take your gas block off as well as that handguard, and it's going to give better stats. I know a lot of people will think that the wooden foregrip is a good option, but this is significantly better, giving us more recoil and more ergonomics, and it's also cheaper. It's only 2,000 rubles from Skier. For the stock, we're actually going to swap to the AK-100 series metal skeletonized stock, sold from Prapper for 2,000 rubles. This can give us a nice bump to our ergonomics while only losing 1 point of recoil reduction, and I think it's worth chasing. At the rear end of the gun, the last modification we can choose to do is put a charging handle on this. Skier sells this for 3,000 rubles, and it only gives us 1 ergonomics. So much like the bolt option on the M4, you don't need to do this. It's only 1 ergonomics, but if you want to have the best of the best, that is how you do it. But this AK-74M is relatively easy to modify, and it brings the total cost to 72,000 rubles. Go ahead and type in level 1 AK, exactly as you see on screen right now, for a quick reference on how to build this. Now, I just want to give advice really quickly. The USEC and the bear get one other really good starting weapon that I think you guys should both utilize. However, it doesn't really need to be modified much. For the USEC, that's the 5.56 tan MDR. Just go ahead and put a foregrip on it and put a laser on it, and you're ready to rock. For the bears, that is the AK-12. Same story as the USEC. Just go ahead and put a foregrip on it and a laser on it, and you're actually going to need an optic for this one. Put an optic of your choice on it and utilize that weapon before building any more, as it is a good weapon. Up next is a submachine gun. Now, there's a lot of options that aren't modified, like the UMP, the MP5, as well as the PPSH. But today I want to talk to you guys about the PP19. So you actually start with 2 of these as a bear, but you can just purchase this item as well. And this thing is a laser beam. You're going to want to utilize all the PST you find, and once you've utilized that, the green tracer inside of this. But let's discuss how to build this. And personally, I like to run this up close and personal. The PST is going to punch through that soft armor, and it also makes a great weapon to utilize on night raids if you get the suppressor, but we'll talk about that more in a second. So just like how we did with the AK-74 for the bears, we're actually going to go ahead and remove the rear sight and get the Vitiaz dust cover that comes with a Picatinny rail. This also has higher ergonomics as well, and it's sold from Prapor 1 for 2,000 rubles. I'm going to recommend the Burris Fastfire reflex sight again. Once again, grab that adapter from Peacekeeper as well and slap that on this dust cover. You can choose to just run irons on this weapon. I don't think it's terrible, but I still think the Burris is a nice step up. Now for this weapon, I would strongly recommend you complete Gunsmith Part 1 before you utilize that, and that's so we can utilize that AK-100 series polymer handguard that is sold from Prapor level 1. The reason we want this so much is it's going to come with a Picatinny on the side for us to get a flashlight and laser on, which makes a massive difference on these SMGs. You can go ahead and choose to use the wooden foregrip sold by Skier level 1 just to get a little bit of a recoil reduction and a small boost to the ergo. I would recommend just knocking out Gunsmith Part 1 first. Foregrip, I'm going to recommend the CAC vertical foregrip, as this weapon doesn't really have any recoil, and the extra ergonomics are going to be really nice at a low level when your arm stamina drains so fast. On the Picatinny rail on the side, we're going to utilize the Glock GTL 21 tactical flashlight sold from mechanic level 1 for 15,000 rubles. If you have no intentions of actually utilizing the flashlight and you're just utilizing the laser, you can also swap on the NC Star tactical blue laser for 5,000 rubles from Skier to save yourself a quick 10,000 rubles. Now at the front of the weapon, you can choose to just go ahead and run this loud. Maybe you're just running some daytime factory raids. That's perfectly fine. However, if you can, I would suggest you go ahead and get your hands on the Osprey 9 sound suppressor. It's going to give you 0 recoil on the weapon, and you can get it by simply just bartering a drill, which you're going to find plenty of while looking for your gas analyzers. If you get this suppressed, I would also recommend you go into night raids to get far ahead of everyone else in that same level bracket. And then finally, at the tail end of the weapon, we're going to go ahead and put the Zenit RP1 charging handle on once again for just a little more ergo. You can skip over this. That brings the final cost of this PP19 to 88,000 rubles. And finally, if you guys want to see a quick cheat sheet on this weapon, go ahead and type in level 1 PP exactly as you see on screen in my Twitch chat. He said PP. And finally, a DMR with the capabilities of 1 tapping to the thorax, a suppressor, and a 4x optic. That sounds like a lot. What could it possibly be? It is the VPO-209. So you guys may be familiar with these. Maybe when you first started playing Tarkov, you accidentally tried to load 7.62 into this. But if you don't know what a VPO-209 is, as far as I understand, this is kind of like the Russian civilian equivalent to our AR-15s. So we have AR-15s in the state. They're semi-automatic M4s effectively. That means Aryan assault rifle. And then we have the VPO-209, which is a smooth bore similar to a shotgun. So it's not rifled, and so it shoots a different caliber. So this is how, Russian citizens have fun with weapons without having access to 7.62 Kalashnikov series weapons. Hopefully I got that correct, but a lot of people don't recognize this weapon as actually being a very strong rifle early on. Now you may hear smooth bore and assume it's going to be extremely inaccurate, but this build actually gives us a 2 MOA, which early on having a 4x optic and 2 MOA effectively allows you to destroy anyone in range. Let's hop into this. So first you're going to want to start with a VPO-209. This is sold from both Jaeger and Skier level 1. I would recommend Jaeger as most of you are going to have a hard time getting Jaeger level 2 over Skier level 2, but you can choose which one you want to purchase it from. From there, we're going to go ahead and knock off that rear iron sight, slap on that Bastion dust cover once again. The recoil reduction is nice, but we really just want that Picatinny rail. You can get this dust cover for 6,000 rubles from Skier level 1. Then we want to go ahead and put on the Leapers UTG 25mm ring scope mount. Probably haven't utilized this mount before. It's kind of niche, but it's sold from Jaeger level 1 for 1,700 rubles. Inside of it, we're going to put the VOMS Palad 4x32 25.4mm rifle scope. It's sold from Jaeger level 1 for 15,000 rubles. The sight picture on this isn't perfect, but it's way better than any of your opponents are going to have, especially if you take this weapon somewhere like woods or lighthouse, or just play distance on your other maps. Once again, I'm going to strongly suggest you don't use this until you complete Gunsmith Part 1 for that AK-100 series polymer handguard from Prapor level 1. However, it's not as big of a deal on this, as you really don't need the laser or the flashlight while utilizing this as a DMR. It's just nice to have in case you get caught with your pants down up close. If you have it, go ahead and put the COT vertical foregrip. That's right, right, I said cock. It's even a black cock. But Peacekeeper 1 sells us for 3,800 rubles. And just like our previous builds, I would recommend putting the Glock GTL-21 tactical flashlight with laser from mechanic level 1 for 15,000 rubles. If you have no intention of utilizing the flashlight, just go ahead and get the tactical blue laser from skill level 1 for 5,000 rubles and save yourself some money. At the front of the weapon, we can actually just purchase the Rotor 43 366 TKM muzzle brake compensator. This is a suppressor and it's sold from skill level 1 for 28,000 rubles. I'm gonna go ahead and say this just because I could see this being a pain in the ass. This weapon does have a muzzle brake on it. It's a thread protector. You just need to take that off and put the suppressor on. For our magazines, we want to grab the 20 round magazines available from skier level 1. There are some 30 round magazines you can pick up from scavs, or you can get the really cheap ones from Prapper. They're 9,000 rubles a piece. They're extremely heavy, and I think you're better off using the ergonomic and small capacity 20 rounders. You can choose to utilize those if you want. In terms of ammo, you can purchase FMJ rounds from Jaeger level 1 at only 83 rubles a round. These have 100 damage and 23 pen. They'll go through level 2 soft armor, which means as long as you're not hitting a plate, you're gonna one-shot anyone to the thorax, anyone to the head. You can shoot people in the leg and immediately black their leg if you see someone running in a field and secure an easy headshot after that. Or you can additionally utilize the Echo rounds. Now normally these are sold from Jaeger level 2, and the reason why I bring these up is they spawn all over the place and on all sorts of scavs. These have enough penetration to go through level 3 armor every single shot, and even sometimes level 4 armor. Let me know if you guys utilize this weapon and how it treats you. The only thing I want to tell you guys about this weapon is it does kick up quite a bit when you shoot, so just take your time lining up those shots. If you get really trigger happy with this, you're gonna have a bad time, and something like the SKS is going to be a little bit better if you're going for more of an accuracy through volume instead of lining up your shots. But if you want a reference sheet, go ahead and type !level 1 VPO in my Twitch chat. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. I appreciate your guys' time. If you want to help support a great cause, I'm trying to raise $1 million for St. Jude's over on my live stream. That'll be linked down below. You don't have to give me any money. If you just want to go ahead and lurk, that would help me out tremendously to just get this message out there. I'm trying to sack a year of my income to just make to raise $1 million for a good cause. And if you haven't watched my settings guide already, go watch it. What the fuck are you doing? It's on the screen right now. Go.